Hello and welcome to Amipal, the #1 place on the internet for the sweetest Amiga content. I have just come into possession of a wonderful Competition Pro joystick. It's a transparent one, as you can see. Model it for you. It's a really nice stick. We've still got clicks on the fire buttons, but unfortunately there's nothing on there. So I have just come into possession also of some of these, which are microswitches, which have a very nice click on them. Just put it next to my mic there. This is so that hopefully I can get a bit more positive feedback from the sticks, because although the stick works, sometimes you're unsure whether it's being pushed forward or back or left or right fully. So although you see the action on the screen, you don't necessarily get that feedback that that's exactly what you've done. So what I'm going to do is give this a good solid clean, because it's got about 20 years of grime in there and around it. It's really quite horrible. And then I'll do a bit of a transplant with these new microswitches. One thing I'll tell you about also, I've just bought myself a light, which you can see there, and also a microphone, so hopefully my audio should be much better now, particularly when I'm kind of walking around the machines, walking around the camera. You should be able to get more consistent audio out of me, which I'm sorry about that, but it should make it a bit better in terms of the quality of these videos. Right, so here we have our Competition Pro stick, transparent one, as I said, but you can see just how grimy it is around here. Just in various parts, it can, it's just coming off in my hand. So I'm going to remove the case itself, and then going to change these microswitches in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 for the stick, and then another 2 for the buttons. The buttons, as I said earlier, are nice and clicky. The stick itself, you can mostly hear the squeaking of the central bit here, but the clicks are there. I think I'm still going to change these because they are very old, and if I can just unclip them and stick in new ones while I'm in there, then why not? Yeah? So let's open it up. I'm hoping that this plastic isn't too brittle. I'm also hoping that I can just unscrew it without too much like falling away on the inside of it. Still got some trouble. Gravity helps. I'll try and keep it pointed towards the camera, because after all, I'm doing this for you lot. Well, no, I'm not that altruistic, I'm doing it for me, aren't I? But I do want you to see what I'm doing. There we are. So that's the bottom. But now it doesn't really want to come loose. There we are. Okay, so there we have the inside of a Competition Pro. Now I've got to make sure this all goes back together, so what I'm going to do is take some photos and then we'll carry on recording this. Now, one thing I thought I'd do before I start mucking around with this is to actually test the size of these. So this is the yellow ones are the new ones, these zippy ones, and then we've got these ones, which I can't quite see what they were, but I'll be replacing the blue ones, the original blue ones, with these nifty yellow ones. Interestingly enough, this new yellow one has 3 connectors and the blue one only has 2, but there is a bit where it kind of went in there, so I don't know if I need to snip something off to get it all to fit. Either way, we'll swap them for these because that's a much louder click than the existing ones on there. Right, I've taken photos. I'm now going to take all of the electronic pieces out of here, so then I can give this plastic a proper, there you go, the switch will help it out, a proper clean. Oh, that one just dropped out. That was helpful, wasn't it? Do you know what? It's the rubber on that. I wonder if I'll be able to get that out and clean above it, because that's where the majority of the mank is. We'll have to see, I guess. On to the cleaning step. Right, what we have here are all just the plastic pieces which have been sitting overnight in a thick solution of washing up liquid and water. So it's all quite bubbly, and hopefully we can just give that a good scrub with an old toothbrush to get a majority of that grime off. That's it. Get it right in there. That's been building up over the last 20 odd years. I'm not entirely sure I have to do all the pieces. Might have to add a bit of grease into some pieces that need them, like the metal shaft perhaps. But this is all just built up over the years, and particularly along the edges where kind of hand grease gets in and just sits there. I mean, just from looking at this, where it's been sitting overnight, I can already see that it's got cleaner just by sitting in it. And I think washing up liquid is probably one of the safest things you can use for it, because it doesn't really have anything harsh in it, does it? It's just soap bubbles. So I'm just getting them all out of here, and then once this is empty, I'll just give them a rinse with clean water, and I'll just get rid of the residual soap suds from it. Or get those buttons. I mean, this was looking pretty kind of yellowy when I put it in here. And hopefully this will do the job at just kind of getting it a bit more crystal clear. Obviously we've got some smaller pieces like this which I don't particularly want going down the plug hole, so just be very delicate with that one. And this was the rubber ring that kind of sits between the stick and the micro switches, kind of halfway down the shaft. So that it's got some movement on it. I don't know if I'll need to do something to soften that up. What I'll probably do is put it all back together and see just if sitting it in that has helped. And I think that's everything. Right, I'm going to give it a rinse now, and we'll move on to the micro switch installation. There is the clean stick. This I noticed a bit of gunk around the outside of the buttons, so I've kind of gone over this again with IPA. Get a toothbrush in there, really clean it away, and try and get rid of as much of the old residue as possible. I've kind of test fitted some of the new micro switches in there and kind of put this back together as is, but we've really got to kind of untangle all of this because I had nowhere to store it, so it's looking a bit I'll have to refer to my photos basically. All I know is that this will go at the front of the case. Let's take these new switches out. So that will go there, and then everything else has to kind of move around. I think these ones are the switches for the base, and then that's for the stick itself. But obviously some of them are going to be up, some are going to be down, some are going to be left, and some are going to be right. And as I alluded to earlier, we have slightly different pins on there, so if this needs to bend around, it's going to connect to that one, so I'm going to need to sort that out as well. Having looked at a photo of exactly how things are laid out, I've switched the microswitches. I swapped the microswitches on the base here. I won't move it around too much because the don't really want these cables to move too much. I've actually left these extra pins on here because I don't think anything actually touches them. What I might do is just put some tape around just in case, to protect them against any additional shorting. So now I've just got to work out what these bad boys do. They are all colour coded, I'll say that. So once again I'm going to refer to my photo of how it was previously, and then hopefully I can remove them just like these ones, and get the new yellow ones in there too. Here's one of the new switches. I've just cut off as much of that as I could without it getting too close to everything else. And as you can see, I've just wrapped that in a bit of tape to prevent any shorts. Let's mount that in the top. So I've ascertained where the first one goes because it had this handy little red thing on it. Maybe I should colour code them. That would be easier, wouldn't it? Here's a tip: if you're doing this, colour code the switches so you know where they go. And what have we got next? Yeah, this is... I'm going to take a minute, I think. So they're all in. That was fun. As I said in the last bit, I think it's probably worth either putting like little tags or something on each of the wires just to show where they are, so you don't have to refer to a picture. It's not ideal, but all of the old ones are out now, all the new ones are in. Everything's nice and clicky. Let's get the mic near you. There we go. So now I've just got to work out how to get this all to go back together without it all falling apart in the process. Let's go. So I don't want anything getting stuck in the where the screws go through. The cable will go there. See, this just wants to fall out, annoyingly. Well, this is an exercise in frustration. Right, I've got a few cables kind of going over where I don't want them to, so I'm going to have to get something in there to try and stop that. I finally managed to do it. These wires do tend to get all over the place while you're trying to put it back together again. It's really just a case of making sure they don't interfere with each other or get in the way of where you're going to put the screws in, because that just, it makes life a nightmare. A pair of tweezers came in very handy. It's basically going in through the side here and pulling wires out of the way of where the screw would thread through. So that sorted that. Switch is fine. We've got clicks. Seems okay, but there's only one way to work out whether or not this has been a success, isn't there? Let me plug it into the Amiga. Okay, all plugged in. Let's give Alien Breed a try to test our new stick. Well, refurbished stick, isn't it? Everything is where it should be in here. Oh, that clip worked. That's a positive, isn't it? Let's turn that up for you. Okay, up and down worked in the menu. Let's get into the game and then we can properly test the diagonal and the rest of the fire buttons. One thing that annoys me about that is it doesn't tell you when you can press fire. Oh. Yeah, fire buttons were up, down, left, right, diagonal up and left, diagonal down and right, diagonal down and left, diagonal up and right. Yes. That, ladies and gentlemen, seems to be a success. It's a bit stiff on the left direction though. Don't know if that will loosen up. But that's okay. You can really hear the clicks now as well. The other ones did click, but definitely on the stick itself, it never seemed to give a positive indication that you actually clicked anything. Now I'm getting that. It's the Horde! Get some. Yeah, that works. I'm going to count that as a success. It worked! Very happy with that. I'm no kind of expert when it comes to electronics. I don't get anywhere near a soldering iron, so the fact this just uses little clips that you kind of unplug and plug back in is fantastic. Wonderful clicky sound to that now, so I'm happy with that. I'll probably reuse the ones that were in here on that really sticky, squeaky joystick that I've got with my A600, just to kind of breathe some new life into that. If you've got any questions about what I've done today, please give me a shout. If you've got any other comments as to why this is now going to burst into flames, I'd also love to hear that, probably sooner rather than later. And thanks for watching. Cheers!